Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. It's your boy Dropcode once again, and in this tutorial video we're going to continue building out our backend API, which we're going to be concluding very soon. So to continue in this video, we're going to start working on our department controller, and also we're going to try as much as possible to also deal with our position controller also. Then in the last video after this one, we're going to deal with our user controller. Then I think we should be done with our backend. Then we'll jump into Vuejs. So to get this tutorial started, first thing we're going to need to do now is to create our department controller, which we're going to be making use of. Right down here on the right hand side of my terminal area, I'm just going to create a new department. Adonis make controller. Then the name of the model department. Sorry about that. So the name of the model department, then that should create a new controller for us. Okay, I'm not in my server directory, so I'm going to quickly cd into server, and let me clear this so you can see what I'm doing clearly. Adonis make controller called department. Then I'm going to select HTTP, then that should create a controller for us. So right now in this folder, as you can see here, we have a department controller. So I'm going to close the side panel. Then inside of this controller, before we get started, we're going to import a few things. We're going to create constants for our department model, which is going to be equals to use. Then bring in our models app slash model slash department in this case. So we're also going to bring in our user model and company model. So let's deal with that accordingly. So we call this user. Then right here, oh sorry, slight mistake, I need to quickly copy this. Then call this the company. So now that we have those models all set up, now we're going to create the fix. We're going to create our first method, which is going to be the index, and don't forget to add your async await. So we're going to use the index method now. So inside of here, we're going to bring in our auth, because we're going to be validating the user before finding the company that that user actually belongs to. Then from there, we're going to fetch the department for that particular company that user belongs to. So that's how we're going to work this out. So the first thing we're going to do is to get current logged in user. Then after that, we're going to get user company, then fetch user, no, fetch company departments, then lastly return the department. So now to get current logged in user, all we need to do is to say const then the user, which is equals to using our auth dot get user, not generate, get user method that should help us find the user. Then now to get the company, we say const company, which is equals to the user which we got now dot the relationship of company in our user model, then dot fetch. That should help us fetch the company. I don't want to really go into explaining these things because I feel like the previous videos I've already done those the full explanation of these basic concepts. I feel by now you guys should already be used to this similar concepts, and you already know what they do and how they work. Next we're going to purchase departments equals to, here we're going to use company dot departments, and that's fetch. So if you have noticed, we are kind of making some mistakes here, which is going to not, and that's not going to allow these things to work. We're not using our weights here, so using that should change things. So now we fetch the user, get the company, and this department is already, we already have this in our company model. So let me bring that up. In our company.js, we have departments right here. So this is the department we are targeting from the company model, and that's exactly what we're using here, departments. Then we're fetching all the departments. So here we're just going to return departments, and that should be all. So I'm going to go into my routes. I think I've already route already. Yeah, departments, then department controller dot index, so which is targeting the index method. So let me open up Postman, then remember to create a request, and I called my get company departments. So let me quickly start my server, because if I don't start the server, I'm not going to be able to check that. So restart my server, get this URL copied, then head over back to Postman, paste that, then slash, before departments we have the API slash version 1 slash then departments. So now this is not going to work actually, basically because you don't have a JWT token. So no user is logged in, so the auth is not going to be able to actually find the user. But let's send it and see what we get back. Invalid JWT token. So that proves that we have to be logged in before making this request. So that's fine. So now we're just quickly going to log in with the previous body we have here, which is this data. We're going to log the user in. Then now that we're logged in, we're able to fetch this token and use this token to make our request. So I'm going to copy this token, then head back to here, then go to authorization, make use of bearer token, and copy this and paste that in, then send the request once more. Of course, we're going to get an empty array because we don't have any department yet for this company. So that proves that the route is working and the method is also doing its job properly. We're going to save that, then head back to our code, then we're going to create the method for actually creating a department. So that will be the next thing we're doing. So now to create a department, we're going to also call that, head over back to our department controller. Then after this, we're going to do another async. Then we call it store. We're just basically going to use the same method names we've been using since, because that's the normal conversion. So inside here, we're going to get a request just coming from our front end. We're going to use the auth. Then we're also going to use the whatever thing we're going to use, and we're going to add that as time goes on. So the first thing we're going to do now to store is to get logged in user and get company from params. Then I don't think there's a need to get company from params. Should we do that? I was thinking maybe we're going to pass the ID of the company we want to create a department for through the params as also a value, but we can also fetch that from the current logged in user. We can also fetch that. Let's just fetch that from, let's get company the same way we did up there. Get user company, so we don't need to pass any params. So how to save us some time. Then after getting user company, verify that that user belongs to that company. which is obvious at this point, so we don't need to verify. Let's not make this more let's not write code that is actually unnecessary. So then after here, what we need to do is to let's just get the params, get values from requests. And after getting values from requests, then add a new company. And make sure we need to validate. Should we do validation? We can do validation in the front end, so let's just make this short and simple. Then save, add a new department, actually not company. Save new department, then return department. So this should be all. So let's get started. So you see user equals to await, then auth dot get user. The next thing, company equals to await, then that's company or starts. Okay, that's fetch. So after that, then get the values from the input. So for this, we can say new department equals to quest dot only, so we can fetch some specific values. So let's quickly go back to our database. Say department schema, which is right here. So we have the company ID, department name, description. So I just fetch that, paste that in, then description. So what else? That should be all. That's all we're fetching. Then to create a new, let's just pass, let's see, dot company ID is going to be equal to company.id. So that way we're going to fetch the user company into the ID of that particular company, which we get from up here. We're going to fetch that, then pass it into this. This is going to be like an object now, constant, passed into this constant here. So now that we have that passed in, so we can add a new department. And to do that, we're just going to see, let's say let's going to call it department. See, cost has already been created, so it's no longer, I won't say it's still a new department, so just call it department. Then await, then calling the department model dot create. Then all we need to do is to pass in new departments. That should create a department for us. Then that will also do the saving of the department, so we don't need this line anymore. The next thing we want to do is just to return department. So that should be all. It's nothing too complex. So let's quickly create a route, then test that. Let's create this new route, call this store. Then over here, yeah, still departments, but it's just going to be post requests, departments, then /store. do the same thing, create a new request, call this new, create new department, then staff manager, and come back here, then special route, endpoints, I mean the route, anyone, they're both correct. Departments, then here is going to be a post request, then we're using bearer token because we need to be authorized. Then our body is going to be form data, then here we called it department name, call this accounting department. Then here we're going to do the description, takes care of company accounts. So there's something not to something light. So now if you send this, this should create a new department for us. We send requests, let's see what we get, and we get a department. So we have department name, accounting, description, company ID of 1, which is correct. That is the company we belong to. So created date, updated, and the ID of that department, which is also 1. So towards the end of this API development, we're going to actually do some things. We're going to adjust our API response. So in situations whereby you want to pass some specific data to your front end and you want to give them some specific names, like this one, I want to call it like department description, like you want to change the name of this instead of it being, and you don't want to affect the values in our database. There are some things we can do to work that out, and we're also going to do that at the end of this backend development. So we're going to call this department name, department description, company ID, then created and updated that. We're not going to add that to our response, which is going to be going to the front end. We're going to remove this, then we'll pass in the ID, we'll call it department ID, not ID. So all this we're going to do, but while doing that, we don't want to change these values in our database. So there are ways we can change the values for our APIs but not affect our database. So just in case in the future we want to change some values in our database so it doesn't affect our API framework, so it doesn't affect our API area of our application, so we don't have to now start so our application don't have to break during making vital changes to our databases. So that's just what we're trying to achieve. We'll do all that close to the ending of our video. So now that we've created a department, next thing we're supposed to look at is how to update that department in case we want to do that. So let's go head back to our department controller. Then here we'll do sync, then update, going to receive requests of what we want to change, then auth, then nothing else. So we're going to open that up. Since this is going to be like almost everything, so let's just copy this part, put that in. So we have user, we have the company, then we have updates department, let's call it department data, request only department name and description. So after that, I'm just going to see cause what should we call this? Let's see. Let's not fetch data. So there's an easier way to do this, so you can skip one line instead of doing 2 lines, then return our department. So let's just call it. Then instead of request only, we are still going to do request only, but we're going to add something to this going to see, okay, actually I have to fetch that department from the database before we can actually update it. So we've not done that. So we're going to take in some params here, going to help us fetch the department. So right here at the top, I'm going to say from DB, then we'll say department equals to, so we're going to use our weights, then we'll call department dot, then we're going to find, then the ID coming from the params, which we've not yet gotten to, params, then we'll say ID equals to params. So now that should help us fetch our ID from the params, then this will help us find that particular department we're looking for. So after finding it, I think we should check if that user is actually, if the user is allowed to do that first of all. So I think we should just user company, then fetch, should validate to check if that, in case if we don't get a company, we shouldn't be able to update that department, or if we don't get a user, we shouldn't be able to update the department. All right, just for security purposes, instead of so we're going to make use of because normally in the front end, before you can click on something, definitely that person is logged in, but let's just keep that. I don't think that really matters now, so just definitely before the person can be able to update the department, definitely that person is logged in at that moment. Then to also do the administration, that's the user type, we're going to use that, you're going to do that through our middleware to check if the user can actually send that request or not. So we're going to use middleware to limit a user from sending some certain requests to the database. So that we'll be doing that in the future video. But so if the person can pass through that middleware, then this should just run automatically. I don't think there's any other validation we need to take care of. So now we just need to get the ID, then find that department. Then after finding the department, then we should remove, let me remove it entirely. Let me just clean this, then we'll say updates. So we should be able to update the department, and to do that, all we need to do is departments dot merge open brackets, then inside here we're taking the requests dot only, then close that here. So all these method I'm displaying here and using are all in the documentation for AdonisJs. So if you go there, you find even more that maybe probably we're not using here. You'll find that in the documentation of AdonisJs. So we're just doing department, which we already have here, then dot merge, then request dot only, then the department name and description. Every other validation will be done through the Vuejs. We'll do that in Vuejs. So now that we've merged that, now we have to save. So this requires you to save with department.save. So this actually just fetches the input, then keeps it inside here. Then when we get here, this is where we actually store the updated values inside of the database. So you see, that's where we need the await. So now return. So now this should be done. So let's create a route and test that out. Let's do this again, department, then slash, then the ID of that department. Then here will be update. Then not a post, is going to be a patch request. So now that that is done, let's head back to Postman, then create a new request, then update department, save that, then head over there. We should save this. So saved. Let's add our patch here, /1, which is the ID for this department. So we want to update that. So enter into authorization, then bearer token. Although right now I think this is going to work even without the bearer token. So let's try that. Let's remove the bearer token. But after we use the middleware, it's not going to work. So there's a way we actually do that with the middleware to check if that user is authorized to like use some endpoints in our data and in our application. So here we're going to say _name. So we're just going to update only the name, nothing else. So we called it accounting. So let's call it. So let's change it to account department. So let's send that request and see what we get back. And it actually worked. So it changed the account department. So this is not actually secure right now. Writing code like this is not secure right now. But after adding the middleware, in future videos we'll be doing that, then we shouldn't be able to make this request to database without being authenticated. So let's move on. After that, we're going to delete. Let's work on the delete method so that we can actually delete. So let me just create this again, then call this delete. Or is it destroy or delete? Let me see. Okay, so it's delete. So it's delete. So I'm going to work on the delete. So we're going to call this destroy. Or you can call all these things whatever you want. The method names can be your own choice. You can call this anything you want. You can call this start or create. You can call this update. You can call this delete or destroy. And whatever you want, it's totally your choice. So let's head back to department, then work on that. So we're going to have destroy here, taking params only. We're not taking any requests, just the ID of that particular department. So okay, so first, well, let me just copy that from the top here, so we don't have to waste too much time doing this whole part. It's going to be repeated down here. So now we get ID from params, then fetch that particular department using the params. So now to do this, the next step we're going to do now is, now that we have that department, so we want to assume that there are users who have been assigned or allocated to that particular department. So before deleting that department, we have to actually check for users who have that department ID, then clear that, because you don't want a situation whereby we're loading a user profile and the department field is actually undefined or empty or not found. I don't know, just saying. So to prevent that, so we don't have to come back to the backend and start fixing that bug, so let's just delete. We're going to clear every user with that has this department ID attached to them. We're going to remove that ID from them, then delete the particular department. So to do that, we say delete ID from users or staffs, whatever you want to call it. And lastly, we delete the department. Then return the department that we deleted. So to do this, we need to say await, then call the user model. Then this is where we actually make use of the query. Query. Let's see, is there another way we can do this? No, we have to do this. We have to use the query. Then here we come down here, let's use it on one line. Then see, so we're going to use some query methods here. So we're allowed to use these methods while using the query. Before, we're allowed to use this method because we've already attached this query to the user model, so we can see where this is this, then update this or find this, things like that. So we're going to see here is going to be departments. Yeah, departments. No, not going to need a quote for this. Department.id. See where department.id. Okay, no, making a mistake here. ID. So what I'm saying is that in the user model, where department ID inside of the user model is equal to the department.id, which is equal to this department ID is equals to what we have in our database in the user table. Find that. So where this is this, it should update the values for those user. Department underscore ID should be null, should be equals to null. So this is going to take care of that. So we're saying in our user table, wherever we have any user that has department his own, any user that has a department ID that's equal to the department we're about to delete, update that user to have a department ID of null. That's exactly what we're doing. So after that, we delete the department. So you see await, then department.delete. Exactly. Then here let's return department. So right now we're not going to test this out yet. I want us to be able to actually attach a user to that department before deleting that. So to do that, we're going to do that in our user controller, which is going to be in the next video, not this video. So I think for now we're pretty done with department controller. So let's just create a position controller. So we say Adonis make controller, then call it position model, then that should create the HTTP controller for position. Okay, so now we have that. Let's quickly head over there, say position controller. Then I'm just basically going to copy every method we have here, then make the changes so we can be fast about this. So Control C, head over here, then paste that in, save that, then head back, copy back all this model. So we didn't actually make use of the company model anymore, so I'm going to take that out. We'll copy this, then head back here, then at the top import those values. Then so to start, we're going to say async, find the user, get the company, then fetch. Let's just, wherever we have department, we'll change that to positions right here. So that's all done. So fetch company positions. So positions equals to await company dot positions, so fetch, and then return positions. So I'm going to quickly head over to the company controller to see if we actually created the relationship between company and positions. Yeah, we did. Let's head back. That is done. Then in the store area, the store method, we're going to find the user, company, wherever we have this, we're going to call it new position. So when say const to new position equals to request dot only, here we're going to change these values very soon. So new position dot company ID equals to company dot ID, then here no, we're going to change this. Call that position. And here let's go call the position and make these changes. Hope I'm not too fast for you guys. I think I'm not fast, so in case I'm not fast. In case if I'm too fast, so you can just pause the video to follow what I'm doing. So it's basically the same thing we did in the previous controller, but we're just changing the values to face the position this model and the position database instead of the department database. So fetch our company, user, company, then our values which we're going to change. Let's open up position schema. So we have just the title, so that's all. Get the title. Going to clear this area. That should be all we need. Then we add our company ID, then position, our position that creates new position. Sorry about that, guys. We're done with our store. Next, let's move into our updates. So we find the position, then dot merge title, dot save, then return position. Sorry, save that. Then come into the destroy. And user query where position ID is equals to positions on ID. We're going to update position ID in our database to null. I think that's all we need to do. So let's change our comments. I think the comments are what is left. So everywhere we have departments, only in the comments we do that. We do have departments. Position. So I think that's pretty all. So what we need to do now is create the routes, and we need to create all this for position. You're going to test this route. So our position controller, then index store update string. That's all we need. Let's head over to Postman and test all that. So create new, and here we see get company positions. Create that. Let's go to here, Control C, get back here, paste that authorization, bearer token, then send requests. Sorry, yes, send. We have an error, so it's saying bad field error, unknown column company ID in where clause. Let's go back and see where we have errors in our code. Positions with company dot positions dot fetch dot position get positions. Let's see. As I quickly went ahead to check the issue we are facing from the Postman, and the issue is actually from my position schema, where I made a mistake in the company ID. So you guys should check yours if you have an error here in the company ID. I made a mistake in the spelling. I think I spelled it like this instead of it being company. So that's why the column company ID doesn't exist in our database. So after correcting this error, next thing you're supposed to do is to head over to your terminal. Let me just clear this. The next thing you need to do is to run Adonis, then migration, then refresh. That should refresh your entire database, but you're going to lose all your database inputs, but it's going to reset that and fix this error. So if you don't have this error, you shouldn't be getting the same errors I'm getting. Your endpoint should fetch an empty array. For your endpoint should be able to impute the values correctly without any troubles. So after this, I'm just going to head back to Postman, which is here, and we were at creating a position. We called it account manager. Not that. Create position, yeah, account manager, creating a position for the account manager, and that's the title. Then in the authorization, I selected bearer token, and the token is still the same one as the logged in token, but I don't think it's going to work because we just refreshed our database. Going to create that, they will get an error here saying invalid JWT token. So what's going on is that our database has completely refreshed, so we don't have that company anymore. I'm going to go ahead and create that company once again. So due to saving the route, the request, so we still have our body data here, then we can create a company immediately. So I'm going to see this at the new guard and all the values, then create a company. Okay, so our company created successfully. So we have a company. So now we can log in a user. I'm using Adenuga. You can use whatever you want. Then at gmail.com. Then this is the password. Going to enter that. So that will create a token for us. Going to copy that token and head back to creating of position where we have invalid token. Then right here I'm going to copy all deletes, then paste in the new token which we have now. Then head back to headers, the body, then title account manager, then create that. So now we have a created account manager for the company of ID1. So now we can also update that position. Let me just call it managers. Let's just call it anything. We can still change that back. So if I send this request, it should work correctly, and as you can see, we've updated the company manager. Then let me just re-update that again. Just remove this and send the request again, and it's updated. So that should be all for this video. In the next video, we're going to deal with the user controller, where we are actually going to be able to add a position to a user and also a department to a user. That is going to be done by the admin user of that company. Then we're going to work on our middleware so we can block some routes from some certain types of user using our user type, which we added to our user table. So then after that, then we'll work on the changing of API response data. So after working on those three things, then we'll be done with our backend. Then in the following video, we're going to start with our Vuejs installation. Then we're going to start building out our Vuejs. We're going to use Vuejs. We're going to include Vuex for state management, and we're also going to be using Vuetify as our front-end framework for that. So I think that's all for this video. I really appreciate you guys for taking our time to tune in to my channel to watch this video. I appreciate everyone who has subscribed to my channel, and I want to urge you guys to click on the subscribe button down there, the red button looking at you right now. Click on it and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate you. That's how you show that you support my videos and you're enjoying my content. And I really thank you guys for subscribing, and also remember to drop a like for my video, and if possible share this video to your friends who are interested in learning Node.js backend and building out Node.js backend with a front-end framework like Vuejs. So you can share this link to your friends so that they can also come in and learn also. That's all. Appreciate you. See you in the next video, and goodbye. Thank you.